Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. The Texas A&M Aggies come in at number 6 and are way too early top 25. And the Aggies are fresh off a disappointing 8-4 season in 2021. A season where the true highlight was beating Alabama. And Aggie fans can't help but wonder what could have been. What could have been had they defeated Alabama and actually lived up to their preseason expectations? Maybe an SEC crown, maybe a college football playoff berth. But that's what the Aggies have their sights set on in 2022. After an unbelievable recruiting class done by Jimbo Fisher and the addition of some key transfers, the Aggies will be looking to once again have a major bounce-back year in 2022, look to contend for an SEC West title, but it's going to be very tough with a very brutal schedule. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Before we jump into the Texas A&M analysis, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, become a part of our Gridiron Expert team. Become a part of the GE Nation, guys, so we can continue to bring you college football content year-round. Schedule previews, game-by-game predictions for every single team, weekly analysis, interviews, weekly recaps, things like that. If you love college football, this is the place for you, and we have so much content in store for you in the following months. So make sure to help us out, become a part of our team, help our channel grow, and again, become a part of this GE Nation. So you look at Texas A&M, guys, again, 8-4 last year. The season, many would say, got derailed in week 2 or 3 when they lost Haynes King for the year. They lost him in an injury to Colorado and had to put in Zach Calzada. And Calzada did pretty solid in replacement for him. He was the one that led them to that victory over Alabama in College Station. And now, after 8-4 last year, again, a year where it was this A&M did not live up to expectations, looking to bounce back after Jimbo Fisher had one of the best recruiting classes in the country. They landed a quarterback transfer from LSU in Max Johnson, who will contend with Haynes King, who's going to bounce back from his injury, and will contend with the freshman and Connor Weigman, the number 1 pocket passer in the ESPN 300. A&M has plenty of talent across the board. The major concern is the defense, where they have to replace the entire defensive line, and they lose Mike Elko, their defensive coordinator. He became the head coach at Duke. But DJ Durkin steps in to become the new DC, fared relatively well as a head coach, relatively well as a coordinator, big-time name that's going to bring in players to College Station and hopefully build up this defense. The problem is A&M doesn't have a lot of time to figure things out. Because you look at this schedule, guys, it is tough. I would go out there and say it's one of the toughest in the country, and that's life in the SEC. That's how it works in the SEC, especially the SEC West. But after 2 games against Sam Houston and Appalachian State, neither of which are pushover teams, A&M faces their toughest stretch of the season. So just like that, we are jumping into A&M's key stretch, and whether or not this year can be special for them or whether it's going to be another disappointing year for Jimbo Fisher. Miami, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Alabama. All of those are going to be very, very tough games, and only one of them is a true home game for the Aggies. We'll start with Miami. I think that's one of the more intriguing non-conference games of the entire season. Mario Cristobal, now the head coach down at the U. They've got a great quarterback in Tyler Van Dyke, and I think he's going to quickly change the culture there. Miami's going to have 2 weeks to try to kind of work out some problems before they come to College Station. Not an easy place to play by any means, but if A&M's defense is struggling a little bit, if whoever is under center at quarterback is struggling a little bit, Miami has the talent, and they have the coaching for sure, to win this game. And if A&M is handed a loss in week 3 at home and already has a loss on their record before conference play even starts, people are going to start to get worried. Because the next 3 conference games are tough, and all of them could be losses for the Aggies. We're not predicting anything, but they could be. Start with Arkansas. This game in Arlington at Cowboy Stadium in Dallas. Arkansas won that game 20-10 last year. Phenomenal defensive performance by the Razorbacks, and they jumped out to a quick 17-0 lead before holding on for that 10-point victory. The Aggies did not have an answer for anything the Razorbacks threw at them. Arkansas has a lot of talent coming back. They're a top 20 team for us in our way too early top 25. A great quarterback coming back in KJ Jefferson, loaded on the offensive line, loaded at the running back position, and the defense is going to be working out some issues just like Texas A&M will. Arkansas snapped their streak to them last year. A&M will be looking to start a new streak, get revenge over the Razorbacks, but unlike in years past where people will just mark off Arkansas, move on from them, the Aggies can't do that anymore. Even in Arkansas's down years, they always gave Texas A&M a fight at Cowboy Stadium. Expect another fight on September 24th. And if that is their second straight loss, if that is A&M's second loss of the year, their season's done. No playoff, no SEC West crown. It's not happening. And so those two games, Miami and Arkansas, are going to be huge in terms of setting the tone. A&M's got to come out of there at 3-1 or 4-0, because then they go on the road to Mississippi State and on the road to Alabama. They lost to Mississippi State last year. In College Station, they lost to the Bulldogs 26-22. And this is where A&M's defense, especially the secondary, is going to have to step up as they face off against Will Rogers and this air raid offense. Will Rogers being one of the better quarterbacks in the entire SEC. They then go on the road to Alabama to take on the best quarterback in the SEC, the Heisman winner from last year, and Bryce Young. A&M beat Alabama 41-38 last year in College Station, but playing in Tuscaloosa is a completely different story, a completely different environment. And playing in Tuscaloosa against an Alabama team that's hungry for revenge, not easy. Not easy at all. It's going to be very, very tough for the Aggies. So just like that, guys, 4 games, only one of them truly coming at home. All of them quality opponents. All of them could result in losses for Texas A&M. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it would not be shocking to see Texas A&M be 2-4 going into their bye week. It would not. I'm not saying it's going to happen. We're not predicting anything. But 2-4 is a possibility. 3-3 is a possibility. And for Aggies fans, the guys that you're expecting to contend for SEC West crowns, you're expecting to contend for the college football playoff. If you are not 5-1 or 6-0 after your first 6 games, you're not making the playoff. It's just not going to happen. If you have 2 or more losses at that point, you're done. And that's why those 4 games between Miami and Alabama, Miami, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Alabama are so key for Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. A lot of hype for them. Look at the schedule a little deeper. They get their bye week before going on the road to South Carolina. South Carolina, not an easy game at all. A&M, yes, torched the Gamecocks last year, 44-14, but the Gamecocks now added Spencer Rattler, so they have their quarterback problem solved. It's in Columbia. After that night, obviously that adds a little bit of extra factor to it. And Shane Beamer surprised everybody with as poor of a team that South Carolina had last year. He still won 7 games in his first year in Columbia. 7 games, including a bowl win over North Carolina. That's the game that A&M cannot afford to overlook, especially if they are down on themselves despite getting that week of rest. They then get Ole Miss. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin doing a great job bringing in Jackson Dart, guys like that. A&M gets to host this game. They lost to Ole Miss last year, 29-19. Another game where A&M's defense truly will be tested against what will probably be one of the better offenses in the conference once again. They take on Florida at home. A&M benefiting from that instead of having to go to the swamp. That would make the schedule 10 times worse. But Florida going to go through some growing pains. I don't expect many high expectations for Florida in 2022. New coach in Billy Napier, still trying to figure out their quarterback situation. Still got a lot of holes to fill down in Gainesville. That game in College Station is going to greatly benefit A&M. And if they are struggling, that game against Florida could be where the bleeding stops for a little bit. They then go on the road to Auburn. They took down Auburn last year 20-3. Auburn is a team that, again, is right there kind of in the middle of the pack of the SEC, if not the lower half. Had a very disappointing year last year under Brian Harsin. A lot of off-field problems going on with Brian Harsin this last year. Still retained, though, for the Tigers. They've got to figure out their quarterback issues. Zach Calzada actually transferring from Texas A&M to Auburn, so it could be a little bit of a reunion there. They play UMass. That should be a victory. We'll go ahead and predict that one for you. And then they close the year off against LSU, a team they lost to in Death Valley last year, 27-24. And the Tigers, quite the anomaly. We don't know what to expect from them in first-year head coach under their head coach in Brian Kelly. All of that being said, guys, we touched on every single game here. And we're not saying A&M is capable. We believe genuinely they are a top 10 team because the talent and the coaching is there. There is no doubt about that. But when you look at the schedule and you look at the fact it's at Mississippi State, at Alabama, at South Carolina, at Auburn, the neutral site game against Arkansas, that is a tough, really 5 games right there. The A&M doesn't get to benefit from the 12th man. They don't get that home field advantage there. The home slate really isn't that beneficial for Texas A&M. The games away from home are going to dictate this season, especially, again, in those 4 games we mentioned earlier from September 17th to October 8th. How they fare in those 4 games will dictate their season, whether A&M can have something very special brewing as they get into the middle of October, or whether or not they fall short of expectations once again, and the 12th man and the Aggie faithful start to get a little upset and start to get a little antsy with Jimbo Fisher and his time down in College Station. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, become a part of our Gridiron Expert Nation, guys. Become a part of our team here as we continue to bring you nonstop college football content. We want you to be with us. We want you to join our team. So make sure to subscribe and like today to do just that. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.